Hello, how are you doing? I hope you're having an amazing day and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to compare two compact smartphone gimbals that we have in the market right now. This one is the DJI OM7P. For me, it is a very nice upgrade from the OM6 and it's the one that I've been using the most. But Hohem released just a few days ago the new iSteady V3 Ultra, which has some really nice features that we're not going to find on any gimbals from DJI or even Insta360. But are they actually useful and good enough to make the V3 Ultra the #1 gimbal in 2025? Let's talk about that, but before we keep going, I want to be clear that none of these companies are paying me to say anything good or bad about these products. And as always, everything that I say in this video is my own opinion. So these two gimbals have a compact design. The OM7P is a bit lighter at 360 grams and it can support smartphones up to 300 grams. The V3 Ultra is a bit heavier at 460 grams, but the motors have been improved to support smartphones up to 400 grams. So using different accessories, or if you have a heavy phone, it's going to be less of an issue. You can fold down these gimbals just like this to make it easier to carry around. And when you need to use them, you just have to extend this arm and then mount the phone on the clamp. On the OM7P, you need to use this magnetic clip that you need to attach to your phone. And in most situations, it's going to be easier to attach and remove your phone from the gimbal. On the OM7P and the iSteady V3 Ultra, you are going to find a built-in tripod, but I like the one on the V3 more. It extends a bit more and they are made with some kind of metal instead of plastic. And believe it or not, they do make a difference as they seem to be more stable compared to the OM7P, where sometimes I had to use a regular tripod when it didn't feel safe to leave the gimbal by itself. They also come with a built-in extension rod that can extend up to around 21 centimeters, which is helpful for vlogging style videos when you need to show more of your background or when you want to have more people inside the frame. And changing the orientation between horizontal and vertical mode can also be done quickly without having to remove the smartphone from the gimbal. The V3 Ultra now has 360 degrees panning. This is another improvement from the previous generation that makes the gimbal have more freedom when it comes to the range of movement. On the other hand, the DJI OM7P can only pan up to 280 degrees. Now both gimbals come with a tracking sensor and a fill light, and they can be used in horizontal and vertical mode and can be attached facing forward or backwards. The fill light can be used in situations where you might need some extra light, and it's quite easy to change the brightness and the color temperature. But the tracking sensor has to be one of the features that I like the most, and this is going to let you track a subject using any smartphone that you have, so there is no difference if you own an iPhone or an Android device. And the best part is that you can use any app that you want, for example, the native camera app, and this way you're going to avoid any limitations that you might get with either the Mimo app or the Hohem app. The tracking itself feels very good and sticky on both gimbals, and I really have no complaints since they were both doing a good job, even when the subject was not facing the sensor. I tried to walk behind some obstacles just to see how they would behave, and they kept tracking me as soon as I was inside of the sensor. And then, I believe that the major test came when I had multiple people walking in front of me. And it's really impressive how good this AI tracking works. I'm not saying they are perfect, they do have a maximum effective range, and in some cases, the sensor can lose the tracking, but this is not something that is going to happen frequently, unless you are out of range. With these gimbals, it's very easy to reframe the composition of the tracking by using the joystick and place your subject in the position that you want, instead of having that person in the center all the time. Now, the module on the OM7P has an extra feature. It works as a built-in microphone receiver, so you can connect one or two transmitters directly, and currently, it supports the DJI Mic Mini and the DJI Mic 2. And the main idea is that you can save some money since you only need to buy the transmitter for a low price. And I can also see the advantage of not having to carry an extra piece of equipment. You're not getting this on the V3 Ultra, but it's really not hard to connect any receiver directly to your smartphone like the ones from Hohem, which comes with one receiver, two transmitters, and it does have noise cancellation. The price is also very competitive, but now it's time to talk about an important upgrade that this gimbal has. The iSteady V3 Ultra now has this touch-enabled screen that will let you change most of the settings in a very easy way. For example, you can change the orientation between horizontal and vertical mode. Here, you can change the gimbal modes just like this, and I like that it's easy to know which mode you're using without having to guess what each symbol represents. You get zoom controls, and if you swipe the screen to the left, you can set the color temperature of the field light and the brightness in a very easy way. We also have other settings that you can change, and you can set automatic rotations for the pan and roll axis. And the speed can be customized for each of these movements by just sliding this bar to the left or the right. If you swipe on the screen all the way to the right, you're going to see a live view of the tracking sensor. And this has a few advantages. For example, you can track a subject by double tapping them on the screen, so you don't have to tell them to make a gesture to start or stop tracking. And this keeps getting better because this will let you track animals and objects with the tracking sensor. And on the screen, you can actually see the status of the tracking. You can also track objects on the Hohem 7P, but for that, you need to use the DJI Mimo app, so it's not going to use the sensor anymore. And you get some limitations that come with the app, but I have to say that even with those limitations, the object tracking inside the app is going to be a good one. On the V3 Ultra, we still have something else. You can remove the entire control panel from the gimbal, and this is going to work as a remote control. It has a range of around 10 meters, so you can use everything that I mentioned before, as well as the joystick, the shutter button, and this side button will control the trigger so you can recenter or flip the camera around. The screen becomes very useful as the live view of the tracking sensor can help to check your composition from a distance. The Hohem 7P can be controlled remotely if you have an Apple Watch, so you will have some basic controls and see a live view of the camera, but this is only going to work with the DJI Mimo app. But I think that we can agree that the main reason to get a gimbal is for the stabilization. And let me tell you that these gimbals are going to do an excellent job keeping your videos stable, and they will help to keep the horizon straight if that's what you need. And not only that, but your videos are going to look smoother when you are doing different movements. But something to keep in mind is that compact gimbals have a limited range of motion on the tilt axis, which for some users, I know that it can be a downside, and if you are on the same boat, I'd recommend that you take a look at the Hohem iSteady M7, which is a bigger gimbal with a traditional design that will not have this issue. Now, the battery life is very similar, but the advantage goes to the Hohem 7P, which can last for 10 hours, and you can use the multifunction module to charge your smartphone. On the V3 Ultra, the battery will last up to 9 hours, but unlike the Hohem 7P, it doesn't have a USB-C port to charge your phone. And keep in mind that you're going to get less battery life if you use the tracking sensor on either gimbal. When DJI released the Hohem 7P, I was very happy that they finally had the tracking sensor and a few other improvements. For me, the Hohem 7P is reliable and it's a great product, but it's hard to ignore when a company like Hohem is 2 or maybe 3 steps ahead of the game by raising the bar when it comes to their gimbals. The touch-enabled screen is a big quality of life improvement, which makes the gimbal easier to use even for beginners. The live view of the sensor is just awesome and very useful, and the built-in remote control feels very convenient for multiple reasons. You're not going to find anything like this in other compact gimbals, but this also means that the retail price is a bit higher than the Hohem 7P. These two gimbals are going to give you similar results with the stabilization, so if you want to save some money, or perhaps you already have a DJI microphone transmitter, the Hohem 7P might be the way to go. But the iSteady V3 Ultra is going to be the winner if we look at all the premium features that we can use when we need to record videos. I am going to try to get a discount for any of you that want to buy it, so the links or any special code will be down below, and and if you use any of those links, it will support the channel. Please don't forget to give this video a like and maybe say hello in the comment section. I hope you're having an amazing day and I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye.